Well, welcome back, everybody. Again, my name is Matt with Forever Fab. If you've been here before, if you haven't, welcome. It's not Friday for once. Today is Wednesday, the 4th. The 4th of what month are we in? June. The 4th of June. But yeah, we're making a video on Wednesday because I wanted Cam to get in this video. I'm going to have him... I'm talking over you now. But yeah, I wanted Cam to get in this video because he's done a lot of work on this car. And I wanted to walk through a lot of the changes we had to make this week. Was it just this week? No, we did some last week.
A little bit last week.
Yeah, well, I made a video on Friday, so I kind of talked about what we did last week. But the motor is not on the
steering rack anymore, or the lift.
You're not wrong. So yeah, we'll jump into it, and I'm going to be the cameraman, and I'm going to let Cam take this one.
All right, so starting off with probably the most noticeable thing, the motor had to move back. And to do that, unfortunately, we had to cut into the firewall a little bit. It's not the prettiest cut, we'll clean that up. But to get the motor where we wanted it and to avoid having issues with the steering rack, it ended up moving back and it moved up a little bit. So one of the things that we were really fighting, as I'm sure Matt previously mentioned in other videos, was interference with the steering rack. So the line that goes into the middle of the rack, providing hydraulic pressure, was touching our oil pan without any fittings in it. So to get away from that, we ended up going with Banjo style fittings. So these are -4 question mark, and they're really tight, so I can't even take them off to show you. But those Banjo fittings are just about the lowest profile thing that we could think of to get a hydraulic line in there. We got these from Pegasus Auto Racing.
We can show them. We got some other ones here.
Oh,
we
yeah.
bought some.
So if you've never seen a Banjo fitting before, this is kind of the Banjo and this is the Banjo Bolt. And basically this hole and that hole in there allow you to have a 90-degree fitting. That's pretty low profile. We're missing a couple washers in here, but these are pretty slick. These are good for lots of pressure.
Did you say what size the fitting itself was for the steering rack?
Yeah, this was a pain in the butt to find. That's M12 by 1. So we actually took our rack to a hydraulic shop, and we were just gonna have them make a line and go from there, but I don't know, it took 15 minutes to even identify the thread pitch.
Yeah.
They're used to SAE stuff, you know, JIC fitting, stuff like that.
I mean, they saved us from identifying at least.
Yeah. So Banjo Bolts are the answer. Like I said, Pegasus Auto Racing, those guys are super awesome. And
if anybody wants these, like we did buy extras, because when we do make the lines, we might sell a couple if anybody's doing this swap.
Yep. And if anybody's interested, let us know. Like, do you want to see nickel copper line? Do you want to see stainless? You know, I wouldn't do aluminum on a power steering rack, but yeah, let us know what you.
Nickel copper probably the easiest and most common.
That would be easiest for us to do.
Stainless would look the sexiest.
Yep. we do have the tools to do stainless, but it would be a little more expensive to do it. So
yeah.
Let us know what you guys want. And then kind of rounding things off, we've got version 1 of our motor mounts.
Version 1.2?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. So because the motor had to move back and up, like we said, these are not the mounts that you've been seeing. I made these up yesterday, but they are still a work in progress, obviously. These are not the finished product.
But they definitely do the job.
They do the job, yep. So these are polyurethane bushings. They're super heavy duty. They'll do absolutely great as vibration dampeners. These will be pretty solid mounts, but it's not a hard mount, and it's not an engine plate. You know, it's kind of in between. So yeah, these are all laser cut, CNC formed, everything. Pretty slick stuff. We got to find the right length bolts so we have an unthreaded section throughout all of this. And all right, so this is the dipstick that we're kind of prototyping with. The plan is to weld a kind of extension bung, and it'll be on the other side, so I should get over there. So weld a tube into the oil pan that'll accept this O-ring, and I think we're gonna try to push it back as far as we can. And for our application, I think we're just gonna kind of riv nut it to the Firewall. And it's a flexible dipstick, so we can do that. But I don't know, in the future we might look at, having a bracket that attaches it to the actual motor if people want that.
But at least this gives you the ability to put it where it fits best for you.
Yep.
For the most part. I mean, other than that, it'll be in that one spot in the oil pan, on this wing, on the driver's side wing. But at least it'll be on your cold side, which is what I'd prefer.
Yep.
So that'll be that. Next up, we want to show you guys the one of the internal baffles that's going to be in the oil pan.
So this is obviously a really gross, rusty prototype. Just cut it out of some scrap steel. But we'll be using these rubber flap valves for oil control. We just want to make sure that the pickup is always covered in oil. So during a hard corner, these will let oil into the area with the pickup.
Yeah, so your pickup will be right here.
Let it out, yep, and there'll be one on each side.
Yep, so it'll basically trap oil in between this baffle.
Yep, should be a pretty slick system.
4 of these little doors.
Yeah, yep, 2 on each side. So these will really help control oil flow and make sure you don't grenade your motor.
All right, lastly, I know I mentioned this in the last video, but I don't think I showed it, or its position, I guess.
And we're talking about AN bungs for turbo oil return lines. So this is a -12. We're also gonna have -10s available, but they're gonna be on the passenger side yet, probably.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Up in that corner there. Like I said, you'll be able to pick on our website as far as the AN fitting size.
If you want one.
If you want one, yeah, it's an optional extra. So -10 and -12 seem to be kind of the most common sizes that people are running, so we wanted to cater to that. And it should be pretty easy, to do a soft AN line from there to there. Draining into the top of the sump like that, you should have no restrictions flowing oil. So one thing that we also wanted to show is we wanted to demonstrate that the wings of the oil pan sump don't extend past the actual bell housing of the rear of the motor. So we designed this to not be any wider than the actual. We got 3.5 inches there.
What do you measure it to?
I don't know.
I'd measure to the bolt flange, like to this point.
Sure. So from the oil pan flange on the motor to the outside of the wing, we have 2.5 inches, which is less than the distance of the bell housing bolt pattern to the oil pan flange.
So a little bit of information if you guys, are thinking about it. You want to know if it'll fit in your chassis. I guess we can measure the other side too, which, it should be equal anyway.
Should be the same.
But we don't know how the motor's cast exactly, so I don't know.
Yeah, 2.5.
Sweet. I like that piece of tape on there. Really adds to it.
Adds to the panache.
All right, Cam, where are we?
We're under the car. The transmission is resting on the jack right now, so we can't really go up with the lift, but wanted to give a couple updates on this oil pan. So right now our drain bung is right here. After talking to some people, I think we're gonna relocate it probably to right here.
On the sidewall.
Yes, on the sidewall. Doing that mostly for ground clearance reasons, and because the motor's
Damn it.
back.
We're back.
We're live.
I never shut that part off.
I know. Mostly for ground clearance reasons, we're gonna move it back here onto the sidewall.
Now, I think for us, it doesn't matter anymore.
It really doesn't. I mean, we're up high enough. We can absolutely put a bung in here, and we'll still be way higher than
We'll still have probably an inch or more.
Yeah. But for other applications, you know, this pan isn't just for a 350Z. It's designed to be a universal, low profile, kind of race sump oil pan.
So the more ground clearance, the better.
Yep. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about back here?
Not back
down
here. No, not down here. We'll go back up top.
Hi, forgive the mess. It's, like I said, a work in progress, and the car is kind of storage. But we wanted to give you a closer look at what we're doing inside the car to make this transmission fit. This is a CDO9, so it is the stock transmission, but it's pushed back probably about a foot by now. Don't hold me to court on that. I don't know the exact number, but it's pushed back pretty far. So as you can see, we had to take, I don't know, 9-10 inches out of the transmission tunnel to push it back. And the motor is sitting just about flush with the firewall. It's inset maybe a 1/4 inch, but it's pretty close to flush. We'll end up making some patch panels for that. And then back here, we have G-Tech, is that the company?
I don't remember. Doesn't say it on there?
I'm sure it says it like right here where I can't
Right,
read
we
it.
can't read it.
Anyway, we have this shifter relocation setup. Now the factory shifter obviously is kind of this rectangle here. With the factory shifter bracket, I think it ends up being way back here.
I think it was like a 6-inch in, wasn't it?
I think it's a 6-inch difference between where it is now and where it was.
Yep.
So this will work all right for us. We're both pretty tall people, and the seats are going to be pushed pretty far back.
Probably as far back as it can go.
Probably. But we ended up cutting, obviously, a little extra. We're going to do some custom transmission tunnel stuff, kind of custom center console, I think. So
That'll be very last, like,
yes.
once everything's running type stuff.
Once
but yeah.
once the car is getting rowdy, then we'll beautify it a little bit. But yeah, I mean, what we did up there, it's mostly just cutting out the silhouette of the motor to get it in here, and then this was mostly just so I could see where exactly we're ending up.
Do you want to talk about the angle?
Yeah. So as far as driveline angles go, with the motor and transmission where they are right now, we're at 2.2 degrees tip back. I think I'm comfortable with that. I wouldn't mind seeing 3. Really, it all depends on whether or not we can match it with the diff, which I believe we can. But as far as our motor mounts go, like when we go to sell them, final fitment will be up to the consumer, will be up to the customer.
Or the installer.
Yeah, or the installer. As far as getting those driveline angles correct, because obviously if you drop the transmission an inch, it's going to change things up front. So I don't know.
Cool. All right, so that's going to sum up our video today and this week. I don't think I'm going to come out with another one this week, and I also don't know when I'm posting this. I just know today's Wednesday. It might not actually come out till Friday if I don't have time. But again, we're going to start probably pre-orders on the oil pan in the next couple weeks. We have our very final prototype demo ones they're in production right now. Once we get those dialed in, we can take some really nice photos. We might add a powder coated option if people want to get the bottoms powder coated. I got to look into see what our guy would charge for that, see what it would cost. I don't want to offer a ton of options. It might just be black or nothing. Raw or black is probably all it's going to be. Oh, we also fit the hood. We showed the hood in the last video and how rough it is, but it doesn't matter. It was a hood that we got. But we did bolt the hood on, and when we moved, after the motor went back, and it touched right here of all places, which we knew it would. Yep. But it was on a scoop on the hood, so I mean, but also that scoop's kind of raised. I don't know. I'd love to get a stock hood, but I do think, which we're planning on it, if we shave this down, I think we're gonna be good.
I think we are.
We obviously don't have a lot of other parts and like knowing exactly where the hood's gonna fall, but for how close we were to these towers, I mean, I think
it looked really close.
Yeah.
I mean, we were parallel to kind of the fender mounting flange.
We also don't have fenders yet.
We don't have a lot of things, but
it was a cheap shell. Okay.
Yes.
We did not pick this color. This is all going to change eventually.
And I should also clarify the scoop that Matt's talking about on the hood. It's a neck duct style hoop, so it goes down into the hood. It's not like a.
But I'm staring at it as we record this, and if you look at the whole center, it's kind of raised. So it's like, is it really lower? Is the question. You know what I mean? Do you see it? You see like how the center's raised?
I see that, but isn't that kind of how a stock 350Z hood is?
I don't know. I don't have one.
Yeah.
Anyway, we had a hood. We tested it. We think it'll fit once we shave this. That's the good news. So I mean, I have seen there's the one dude who's doing this on an S chassis. He pushed his motor way far back, and then he got a shaved valve cover, and his is fitting. I'm glad we don't have to go that far back.
Yeah.
It would have been nice to not have to cut the firewall, but we have made firewalls for this exact chassis before.
Yeah.
It's not that. It's mostly for people buying the kits and stuff, or however we're gonna keep. If anybody else wants to do this, they're gonna have to cut their firewall. It's gonna have to get patched up.
Yep.
We can't really sell that too easily. So keep this in mind that if you're gonna do this, you're gonna want if you want our mounts, which again we were never gonna originally sell them, but there was interest. And with the oil pan, the motor's got to go back into the firewall.
Yep.
The only way that could be avoided, well, not with our motor mounts anymore. I guess it can't be avoided. But there are kits to push your power steering rack forward, which we are still planning to do eventually. We just didn't want to have to do it right now, just because no matter what, we had to go up. And if you keep the motor forward without cutting that firewall, this is going to be more of a problem. Because I mean, right about here, the hood starts sloping down.
Yep.
So if we would have kept that extra, I think it was probably 1.5 inches, 2 inches forward, I don't know if we could have shaved enough of this off at all.
Yep.
So again, we're planning to move the steering rack forward eventually into the front subframe, but no matter what, the rest of this was going to change. So
yeah, we didn't want people to have to do that to utilize our motor mounts, because doing that steering rack relocation, you're cutting your front subframe and you're welding new brackets in. So that might be a little out of the hands of a lot of people. So,
but also doing this, you have to weld a firewall. So it's like, I think a beginner person, and I've seen beginner people weld sheet metal.
Yes.
A lot easier than welding structural steering
I'm
components.
A lot more comfortable with telling people that they have to weld sheet metal versus a structural, very important part of their car.
So that's our professional recommendation. Weld yourself a firewall. Make sure there's no holes in it that aren't supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Find a professional, someone who knows what they're doing to weld your steering if that needs to happen, or if you want it to happen.
Yeah.
This will eventually be a drift car. That's why we are going to do it eventually. And the kits are pretty cheap.
Yeah,
they're only like, I think they're less than $300.
Yeah.
And it comes with everything you need. You just need to know how to weld and have the right welder. So I think that's all we got. I think we've said that 3 times now.
I think it is. Yeah. I can't even speak anymore.
All right. Cam's going to pull an oil pan out. We're going to call it.
Yeah. If you do firewall stuff, brush on seam sealer is your friend.
Brush on what?
Seam sealer.
Brush on seam sealer.
You're going to hide a lot of stuff with brush on seam sealer.
Okay, bye.
Bye. It keeps coffee too hot.
It's too good.
I got sensitive lips. Like if coffee's over 150 degrees, I'm
I
like,
got sensitive lips.
Yep.
That's on video right
I know
now.
it is. I know it is. It's the truth.